for the installation of GTFiber. You probably got here by going to the website. Again, that's gtfiber.github.io. That redirects to this GitHub repository. GitHub repository has a list of files. This is the source code over here. And then it displays the README, and that's down here. In the README, I put a picture of the interface and some of the results that fall out, and then there's instructions for installation. The installation can be a little bit tricky on Mac, and so I'm doing this video for a Mac because there are some extra steps, really just one extra step. So the first step is to download this repository. So it's just downloading all these files, and one of those files is called My App Installer Web. So for Mac it's going to be a .app, and for Windows it's a .exe. So there's two files called My App Installer, and you just pick the one that works in your computer. So to download, you can either click this download button, or you can go up here and click clone or download, which brings up this box, and you'll click on download zip. That's going to download the repository and put it over in your downloads folder. Doesn't take too long. So now we'll open that up. It's going to be called GTFiber 2-GT2 revision. That's the name of the repository because we are on the GT2 revision branch. Open that up and you'll see that we have a folder, and inside that we've got My App Installer Web and the EXE version. This is the Mac version. Here's the only complication. So Mac has a new, this is on Mac OS Sierra. This might not be necessary on earlier versions, but on Mac OS Sierra, so this is 10.12, what you need to do is you need to move this to another folder. The reason for this is not entirely clear, but at the moment, I think the reason for it is that Mac thinks that this is an application downloaded from the web, and therefore it's not trustworthy. But if you move it to a new folder, so what I did there is I right-click and do new folder, or you can go up to your thing up here and click new folder, and whatever, untitled folder, that's fine. Just take this and drag it into the untitled folder. And by doing that, you've now somehow convinced the Mac OS that this is a trusted application. If you don't do this, you run into some weird issues and the application doesn't show up. You can't just drag it to the desktop because dragging it to the desktop makes an alias and doesn't actually move the application. So now that we've done that, it's this crucial step. We'll open up untitled folder, and now we can open up My App Installer. So double click on that. And so again, it says it's an application downloaded from the internet. Are you sure you want to open it? Yes, we are. So we're going to click open. And now it's going to go into a kind of a security mode. So it grays out the screen to let you know that something is happening, and it'll come up with a password prompt. Okay, so Java wants to make changes. That's because it'll be installing a Java library. And then it comes up with the installer window. So we're going to click Next. I've made it so the default folder is applications/GTFiber, so we're going to go with that. In addition to the application, it's also going to want to install the MATLAB runtime, and this was compiled on R2016B. You can run the application without MATLAB, but to do that you have to install this runtime environment. That's kind of just the MATLAB source code, actually, that so you can run the functions inside the program without actually having to open, MATLAB. So this is a fine location. If you already have MATLAB, this is probably already installed. But if you don't, then you have to install it. So we'll click Next. So this tells us that MATLAB Runtime is already installed. If you don't have it, it'll proceed to download MATLAB Runtime, which is about 1 gigabyte. That'll take a little bit of time. So pause here. But if you already have it, then it's just going to install the app. So it's going to install this in application/GTFiber, click install, and it's done. Now, so it comes up with this at the end, and I'm not completely certain if this is necessary, so it has these instructions. We're going to see if it works without having to do this part. I'm going to copy them, so I'm going to Command C, copy, and then I'm going to open up, this is Command spacebar, brings up this little search box, and I can go text edit and bring up a little text edit window and just make a new document and paste those instructions there, just in case we need to follow those later. So I'm going to keep those down there and finish. Well, it's doing whatever it's doing. I'll just say if you did not move the installer to that extra untitled folder like we did at the beginning, this is where you run into errors. At the finish or during installation of the application, it would say, something something bundle.zip was not found. And that is a side effect of macOS not trusting the application. So we're going to let this keep going for just a little bit longer. Maybe we'll just try clicking. No? Okay. That was interesting. There I just did a four-finger swipe. I think it's called it's like F8 or something to reveal all of your windows. Apparently that made that gray screen go away. Anyway, we're going to go into Applications, and then we have GTFiber, and so then you have your app data, the application, and the uninstall. And here's the application, GTFiber. So double click. It takes a little while. Oh, it's doing the gray screen again. I'm not entirely sure why it's doing that, but it seems like just doing that makes it go away. Let me just check, and I can, I think it's F3, maybe it's F3 that does that. So it's a little button on the top of your keyboard. Okay, so it opened and it worked. That was the installation, and hopefully it worked out for you. Like I said, I don't think that this part has to be done. Yeah, I've never had to do that. But there it is. There are the instructions. In case it doesn't work for some reason, then maybe take a look at that. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching.